It's Wednesday, the 23rd of April. Welcome to the President's Daily Brief. I'm Mike Baker, your eyes and ears on the world stage. All right, let's get briefed. We'll start things off today with China's rare earth retaliation, say that 3 times fast, meant to tighten the regime's grip on the global supply chain. But it may be doing just the opposite. The export ban was designed to punish the U.S., but now countries around the world are rushing to break free from Beijing's control. We'll have those details. Later in the show, the State Department, the U.S. State Department, rolls out a major reorganization plan aimed at slashing bureaucracy and more closely aligning with President Trump's America First agenda. Plus, a major terrorist attack in Indian-controlled Kashmir leaves dozens of tourists dead, marking a dangerous new turn in the region's long-running insurgency. And in today's back of the brief, the curtain falls on the Menendez bribery saga. Remember Gold Bar Bob? A Manhattan jury convicts Senator Bob Menendez's wife in a high-profile corruption case. But first, today's PDB Spotlight. As we've reported on this show, China has halted exports of rare earth minerals used in military applications and high-tech devices. Now, these minerals, there are 17 in total, are critical to manufacturing everything from missile guidance systems and fighter jets to electric vehicles, smartphones, and even wind turbines. The decision was framed by Beijing as a retaliatory move in the ongoing trade war. And at first glance, well, I suppose it made sense. China dominates the global rare earths market, controlling about 70% of production and almost 90% of the processing and refining capacity. Cutting off exports to the U.S. and its allies was meant to create pain, particularly for the defense contractors and advanced tech manufacturers. And it is having an impact. American companies are scrambling. MP Materials, the only rare earth miner in the U.S., has stopped shipping raw materials to China. It's no longer cost-effective thanks to new tariffs. Instead, the company is pivoting hard, investing nearly $1 billion into domestic processing and magnet production at a new facility in Texas. Meanwhile, manufacturers that rely on rare earths for everything from weapon systems to electric motors are being forced to explore new options. For some, that means turning to less efficient substitutes. For others, it means pausing production until supply lines stabilize. Either way, it's been seriously disruptive. And Beijing isn't just tightening exports, it's also pressuring its trade partners to do the same. This is an important angle. According to the Korea Economic Daily, Chinese officials have asked South Korean companies not to export products containing Chinese rare earth minerals to U.S. defense firms. It's a clear attempt, of course, to extend control over the global supply chain and tighten the stranglehold on critical materials, not to mention to bully other countries. But here's where the story turns, because there are signs that this move is already backfiring on Beijing. By weaponizing its dominance over rare earths, China is actually accelerating the very outcome it wanted to avoid, a global shift away from dependency on Chinese materials. In Washington, the Trump administration is moving quickly. The White House has announced fast-track permitting for 10 new mining projects across the U.S., aimed at rapidly expanding critical minerals production. That includes rare earths, lithium, and other materials essential for defense and advanced manufacturing. Officials say more projects are expected to be added in the coming months. And it's not just the U.S. responding. In Europe, the European Commission is finalizing a slate of strategic mining projects to reduce dependence on China. The plan targets 17 critical minerals vital to Europe's green energy, defense, digital, and space sectors. Brussels aims to build reserves capable of covering at least 1 year of industrial demand while ramping up domestic extraction and processing across the continent. Australia, Japan, South Korea, Europe, and the U.S., each in their own way, are working to ensure that China can no longer use rare earths as a geopolitical weapon. Now, if these efforts take hold, China's rare earth dominance could erode over time. The monopoly that once gave Beijing strategic leverage is now pushing the world to build alternatives. Instead of weakening the U.S. and its allies, China may be isolating itself. Its bid to control global supply chains is forcing those chains to evolve. Sooner or later, the world was going to confront this dependency. China just forced the issue and sped up the timeline. Now, of course, it won't happen overnight. But the warning shot from Beijing has been heard loud and clear. And if current momentum continues, this rare earth retaliation might just go down as the moment that the Chinese regime started losing its grip. All right, coming up next, the State Department unveils a major overhaul and a terrorist attack in Kashmir. I'll be right back. Hey, Mike Baker here, former CIA dude, businessman, podcast host, and of course, style guru. And here's a pro tip for guys on how to look your best. Get your duds from True Classic. True Classic's mission is simple: make guys look good and feel even better. But honestly, it's more than just a great fit. With great quality and fair prices, you can tell they care about the product, about their customers, and about doing things the right way. And that matters. It's gear made for real life. True Classic shirts and hoodies fit better. They're snug across the shoulders, relax where you need it, and none of that boxy, cheap feel that you get from other brands. My True Classic shirts are part of my regular rotation because they fit and they look great. It's simple as that. Their commitment to quality and fair pricing shows they care about their products and their customers. It's more than just clothing. It's about doing things the right way. So if you're ready to upgrade your basics, head over to trueclassic.com/PDB. That's the only place to go for this deal. trueclassic.com/PDB. You'll see why True Classic is the preferred choice for so many. Welcome back to the PDB. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has unveiled plans for a sweeping restructuring of the U.S. State Department in the latest move by the Trump administration to significantly downsize the federal bureaucracy. Announcing the long-anticipated reorganization on Tuesday, Rubio bluntly stated that in its current form, the diplomatic agency is, quote, bloated, bureaucratic, and unable to perform its essential diplomatic mission, end quote. To remedy the situation, Rubio will be shuttering more than 130 domestic offices and cutting around 700 positions in Washington, D.C. over the coming months. The goal is to streamline operations and align the department more closely with President Trump's foreign policy objectives. That's according to a report from Politico. An organizational chart released publicly shows that the current strategy to trim the department is not as severe as previous leaks suggested. While a statement from Rubio's office was light on details, an internal fact sheet obtained by several media outlets shows plans to reduce the agency's total number of offices from 734 to 602. That's a reduction of roughly 17%, if my mathematics is correct. Undersecretaries of State have also been tasked with developing plans within 30 days to reduce the number of U.S.-based employees by 15%, with the changes set to be implemented by the 1st of July. In a statement, Rubio said, quote, over the past 15 years, the department's footprint has had unprecedented growth and costs have soared. But far from seeing a return on investment, he said, taxpayers have seen less effective and efficient diplomacy. Rubio also said the department had become, quote, beholden to radical political ideology at the expense of America's core national interests. He said under his new approach, region-specific functions will be consolidated to improve efficiency, redundant offices will be eliminated, and offices misaligned with the Trump administration's priorities will be removed. Among those offices that Rubio plans to cut are the Office of Global Women's Issues and the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, which should come as little surprise given President Trump's war on all things DEI. Also, the Office of the Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights, which is charged with advancing American values globally, will reportedly be cut. We should note, however, that many elements of that office, such as a Bureau for Human Rights and one for Refugees, will be folded into the Office for Foreign Assistance and Humanitarian Aid. Rubio said the Office of Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights had become a, quote, platform for left-wing activists to wage vendettas against conservative leaders around the world. He also alleged it had been used to promote an arms embargo against Israel. And that's according to a report from the New York Times. In another example of political bias, Rubio said that the Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration had been used to funnel millions of taxpayer dollars to NGOs promoting mass migration at the southern border. That office will also be on the chopping block. But Rubio also plans to create new roles, such as an Assistant Secretary for Emerging Threats, who will report to the Undersecretary of State for Arms Control and International Security. In an internal memo, Deputy Secretary of State Chris Landau stressed that the overhaul will not disrupt any of the department's ongoing missions, and that, quote, no embassy, consulate, or overseas post closures have been made at this time, end quote. But the reorganization chart shows plans to shutter several embassies and consulates in sub-Saharan Africa and shrink diplomatic operations in Canada. Does the U.S. still have diplomatic relations with Canada? As I mentioned, the finer details of the reorganization are still being fleshed out and subject to change. Still, many career diplomats at the State Department were reportedly relieved following Rubio's announcement. Media reports previously suggested that the planned overhaul would be much more aggressive and would see deeper personnel cuts throughout the agency. One anonymous State Department official told Politico, quote, it could have been much worse. Okay. On now to a brutal terror attack in the disputed Himalayan region of Kashmir, which has left at least 26 tourists dead and dozens more seriously wounded. Indian authorities say 4 gunmen opened fire Tuesday on a group of vacationers at a popular mountain meadow near the resort town of Pahalgam, deep in the Indian-controlled portion of the territory. The police are blaming the attack on militants fighting against Indian rule. Witnesses described chaos as the attackers sprayed bullets at close range. Most of the dead and wounded were Indian nationals visiting the area. Officials say the victims had been relaxing in a scenic meadow, a well-known destination surrounded by pine forests and snow-capped peaks. While no one has claimed responsibility for this latest attack, Indian officials are eyeing familiar suspects. Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, and the newer Resistance Front are all active in the region and have a history of targeting security forces. What makes this attack different is the focus on tourists, marking a potential shift in tactics aimed at undercutting India's claim of stability in the region. India's Home Minister Amit Shah vowed the, quote, harshest consequences for those behind the assault. Prime Minister Modi cut short his trip to Saudi Arabia to return to New Delhi and oversee the response. The attack, no surprise, is already drawing strong condemnation from around the world. U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance, who happened to be visiting India this week, called it a, quote, devastating terror attack and said, quote, our thoughts and prayers are with the Indian people. President Trump, along with world leaders, including from Russia and Italy, expressed solidarity with India. Secretary of State Marco Rubio posted, quote, the U.S. stands with India. For many, the most chilling part of this story is the target, civilians. Kashmir has long been a flashpoint between India and Pakistan, but attacks against tourists have been rare, even during periods of heightened conflict. The roots of the violence in the area go back decades. After India and Pakistan gained independence in 1947, the state of Jammu and Kashmir was given the choice to join either country. Its ruler at the time opted for India, igniting a conflict that's never fully settled. Since 1989, an armed insurgency has raged in Indian-controlled Kashmir, fueled by both local separatist sentiment and, according to India, Pakistan-backed terror groups. In 2019, India revoked Kashmir's limited autonomy. That's a move that intensified anti-India sentiment and tightened the government's control. While Delhi has touted a return to normalcy, highlighting a boom in terrorism, critics say the calm has been an illusion. Apparently so. Okay, coming up next in the back of the brief. Remember the saga of Gold Bar Bob? Well, a jury in Manhattan has found Senator Bob Menendez's wife guilty in the federal bribery case. We'll have those details next. Hey, Mike Baker here. Well, tariffs, you've probably heard about them. They seem to have thrown the global economy into some chaos. Potential widespread inflation tied to massive supply chain disruptions, well, it's weighing heavily on all of us. But I'm here to tell you that there's a silver lining that most people seem to have missed. Not just silver, but gold as well. You see, President Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from the sweeping tariffs. And while these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals. If you're concerned about your savings, I encourage you to have a free consultation with a Birch Gold precious metals specialist. The first step is simple. Just text PDB to 989-898 and receive your free, no-obligation information kit on gold. Learn how to hold gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into a gold IRA for no money out of pocket. Find out why so many Americans trust Birch Gold to protect their savings with gold. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of thankful customers, just text PDB to the number 989-898. Again, text PDB to 989-898 to claim your free information kit right now. Nadine Menendez, the wife of disgraced former U.S. Democrat Senator Bob Menendez, was found guilty Monday on all counts in a federal bribery case involving gold bars, stacks of cash, and a luxury car exchanged for political favors. This marks the latest chapter in a saga that we've been tracking here on the PDB, and it mirrors the fate of her husband, who was convicted of many similar charges in the very same Manhattan courthouse just last summer. The jury deliberated for 3 weeks before returning the unanimous decision, concluding that Nadine conspired with Bob to help 3 businessmen with legal problems protect their monopolies and facilitate foreign deals. She's now slated to be sentenced on the 12th of June, just 6 days after Gold Bar Bob is due to report to federal prison to begin serving his 11-year term. The couple, well, they say they're innocent and never took bribes. Well, imagine that, a convicted person saying they're innocent. Prosecutors painted the Menendezes as, quote, partners in crime, linking the bribery scheme to the couple's whirlwind romance that began in 2018. Oh, this is just a tale of love. It didn't take long before that relationship turned transactional. A 2022 FBI raid uncovered nearly $500,000 in fat stacks and over $150,000 in gold bars hidden throughout their New Jersey home. Details that helped earn the senator his now notorious nickname of, as you've heard, Gold Bar Bob. For Nadine, prosecutors said it began with desperation. Her car had been totaled. Her home was in foreclosure, and into that financial vacuum stepped Jose Uribe, a New Jersey insurance broker who allegedly gifted her the Mercedes in exchange for pressure on state prosecutors investigating his associates. This sounds like quite the charming crowd. Real estate developer Fred Dybes added gold and cash to the pile, seeking to help secure a $95 million Qatari investment and protection from looming criminal charges. And Wahel Hanna, a longtime friend, sent payments to cover Nadine's mortgage, allegedly receiving help in return from then-Senator Menendez to arrange and secure a business tied to the Egyptian government. Prosecutors say Nadine wasn't just present, she was pivotal. They described her as the go-between, facilitating communications between the senator and the businessman, as well as with Egyptian officials. The evidence, they argued, was, quote, consistent and overwhelming, backed by text messages, financial records, and witness testimony that laid out a clear and coordinated scheme. And that, my friends, is the President's Daily Brief for Wednesday, the 23rd of April. Look, if you have any questions or comments, please reach out to me at pdb@thefirsttv.com. And as you've probably already heard from celebrity gossip, to listen to the show ad-free, become a premium member of the President's Daily Brief simply by visiting pdbpremium.com. And finally, if you get a free moment in your busy day, check out our YouTube channel. You can find that at President's Daily Brief. I'm Mike Baker, and I'll be back later today with the PDB Afternoon Bulletin. Until then, stay informed, stay safe, stay cool. Hey, Mike Baker here. Look, I know you know this, right? But owning a handgun or any weapon for self-defense comes with serious responsibility. And you need it to be both secure and accessible when it matters most. And that's what StopBox USA set out to solve with the StopBox Pro. It's a lockbox that gives you instant access to your firearm. There's no electronics, no keys or codes required. The 5-button locking system responds to your unique input. It's built for muscle memory, so you're not thinking, you're reacting. I have a StopBox Pro at home, and it's an excellent piece of kit. It's extremely well made, it's secure, and this is important, it's easy to use. With the StopBox Pro, you don't have to trade safety for speed. Your firearm stays secure and always within reach. For a limited time only, not only do you get 10% off your entire order when you use PDB at StopBoxUSA.com, but they'll also give you buy one, get one free for their StopBox Pro. That's right, 10% off and a free StopBox Pro when you use the code PDB at StopBoxUSA.com. Discover a better way to balance security and readiness with StopBox.
Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and leave a comment, a really positive, nice, and kind comment. That would be appreciated. And if you're not already subscribed to our channel, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our daily updates.